All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today, so let's get straight into it here. So the first story that I have for you guys today, Big Ramy. It's been a while. Big Ramy's got a physique update. He recently posted this to his Instagram story, and everyone's saying this is the most recent physique update from Big Ramy, and the speculation is running wild that Big Ramy is getting ready to compete to try to qualify for the 2020 Mr. Olympia. And why wouldn't he? I mean, obviously, with all these big names jumping in like Heath, it's going to be an exciting Olympia, and I think a lot of bodybuilders now want to be a part of it because history is being made with this Olympia lineup, like we talked about in my last video. 4 Mr. Olympia winners in one show. Heath, Flex Lewis, Sean Roden, and of course your defending champion Brandon Curry. So Big Ramy in this physique update looks like he could be prepping for a show in the very near future, and we've got the New York Pro coming up in the beginning of September. And then you've got the Cali Pro the week after that. So let me ask you guys, do you think this photo of Big Ramy looks like a photo where he could be 4 to 5 weeks out from a show? In my opinion, it does. From what we've seen in the past of Big Ramy, this looks to me how he typically looks at that point in his prep. I think it's totally realistic that he could be preparing for the New York Pro or the Cali Pro or a show that's 4 to 5 or maybe even longer than that weeks away. You got the Boston Pro after those shows. And of course, the New York Pro was recently moved to Tampa, so I don't know if that helps or hurts Ramy's chances of being able to get there and compete in that show. But if I were Ramy, I would have my sights set on the New York Pro. That was where he made his pro debut. He's won that show multiple times. He does still need to qualify for the Olympia, and I think he wants to do it. I think it's really just going to be a matter of whether or not he's able to get here and compete. I think that's really the only barrier at this point. And like I said, I think that's going to really set the tone for how the Olympia is going to go. If these guys aren't even able to get over here to compete and qualify in the shows before the Olympia, that's going to kind of let us know who's going to be able to come over here to compete at the Olympia. So I think Big Ramy is a guy we should all be paying attention to, because whatever happens with him as far as him getting over here to compete, because if he wants to compete at the Olympia, he's going to have to come over here at some point before the Olympia to qualify, unless he gets some kind of special invitation, and I don't know what they're going to be doing as far as those are concerned. But if Ramy is able to get over here and compete somehow, I don't know how he's going to do it, but if he does, I think that's a very good thing for the Mr. Olympia. And maybe that will mean we're going to see Hottie and Bonac and Rolly and Ramy if he qualifies at the Olympia, but who knows at this point. But yes, to me, the point of talking about these pictures is it looks like Ramy is prepping for a show. He looks like he's in pretty good shape here, and he looks like he could be 5 weeks out from a show. Now, next up in the news, some strict curl news for you guys today. Larry Wheels attempted a 100-kilogram strict curl, which would be 220.5 pounds, within 29 pounds of the world record. Now, he did miss this attempt. However, it was pretty close. I'd say he got about 85–90% of this lift completed before he failed the attempt. I'm still predicting that before the end of 2020, Larry Wheels is going to be in striking distance of the world record strict curl. I'm not saying he's going to break it in 2020, but I think we might see at least a world record attempt from Larry Wheels in the next 5 months or so. Keep in mind, he's attempting 220.5 pounds after training for the strict curl for what? 2 weeks? 3 weeks? Has it even been that long? Give the man like 5 more months of training strict curl properly, and I think he's going to be in striking distance of the 240 range of the strict curl. And by the way, if you haven't seen Larry's video with Blessing and Devin Larrett and his buddy Andrew Jack, where they're all attempting the strict curl, great strict curl video. It's an awesome video. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you check it out. Very cool stuff. Now, next up in the news, a whole new series of photos of Nick Walker preparing for the North American Championships. He's about 5 weeks out right now. These photos courtesy of the Buys and Tries Instagram page. And Nick is looking incredible as usual. And in this post here, we'll get to see more than just the front double bicep, which is what we talked about a couple of videos ago. You get to see a side chest. You get to see also a crunched abs and thighs. I saw some people commenting in the last video. They were concerned that for his height and for how densely muscular this guy is, he's going to blow out his midsection and end up with the notorious bubble gut. But in this crunched abs and thighs, I think he's still holding it together pretty well. He's got some really good abdominal separation as well. And honestly, it's still insane to me that we're talking about Nick as a guy that is not a pro bodybuilder. This is an amateur bodybuilder you're looking at in these photos. And I'm telling you, he is going to be the next IFBB pro. It's hard to believe that he's not. Just looking at these photos, it's hard to call that an amateur physique. I'm telling you, I think this guy could be the next big thing once he gets his pro card. And again, the emphasis on conditioning. I think if he's able to nail his conditioning and come in shredded enough, he's already got the size, he's definitely got the muscle, he's got the shape. I think it really is going to come down to conditioning. I said this in the last video. If he's able to nail his conditioning as a pro, I think he's going to be extremely dangerous. I think he's the next big thing in IFBB professional bodybuilding, as long as he keeps the midsection in check and he's able to at least consistently be conditioned. Now, next up in the news, IFBB pro Iain Valliere. I've had a lot of people send me this screenshot. On one of Ian's posts, someone asked him, "Which show is next, brother?" And Iain responded to this comment, and he says, "I'm retired." Now, obviously, if you guys have been following pro bodybuilding at all, you guys know that Iain just took second place to Hunter Labrada at the Tampa Pro just this past weekend. And I know that the expectations for Iain at that show were extremely high. And a lot of people were actually predicting him to win that show. And I know that he was very disappointed with how he looked. And, you know, everyone pretty much commented that he was very off at the prejudging. His color was off. His conditioning was off. His posing was a little bit shaky. He did pull it together a lot tighter for the night show, in my opinion. But still, it was not the Iain Valliere that a lot of people were expecting to see. And the question at this point is, was this a serious comment when he responded and said that he's retired? Could he be done competing, at least for the foreseeable future? I thought for sure, with all these shows on the horizon, Iain would just continue dieting and go into a Tampa Pro, a Cali Pro, a Boston Pro, and try to get some more points, because his point standing right now is pretty good. And if he competed in those shows, even if he didn't win, he might be able to get enough points to get to the Olympia, at least on points. If he kept competing, he wouldn't even have to win a show probably. But it looks like there's a possibility, at least, we might not be seeing Iain compete for the rest of the season. Hopefully that's not the case. I would love to see him continue competing, but it's not looking that way. Now, the final story that I have for you guys today, I've had a lot of people sending me screenshots of Phil Heath's Instagram story, pointing out his midsection is protruding quite a bit in this training session that he posts on his Instagram. Now, you guys might be surprised, but I'm actually not going to attempt to crucify Phil this early in the announcement. He literally just announced that he's coming back this weekend. So I'm not going to sit here and say that he's got a gut in his training video at 5 months out, so therefore he's going to have a gut at the Olympia. I'm going to at least give him the benefit of the doubt. That's not how he's going to look at the Olympia. I'm not going to go ahead and make this assumption just based off this training video like one day after he announced he's coming back. But I did want to mention it because so many people have sent it to me. I feel like I would be remiss if I did not actually acknowledge it. And I'm actually blocked from seeing his Instagram story, so I didn't even see this until people started sending it to me. So my comment on it is I wouldn't read too much into it at this point. He literally just made the announcement. I'm sure at this point Phil knows what he needs to correct by the time the Olympia rolls around. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about all the stories in this video. Comment down below. Give the video a thumbs up if you did in fact enjoy it. Subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed yet already. And as always, Nick Strength and Power, signing out.